In October 1972, a small charter plane carrying 45 people, members of an Uruguayan rugby team, their friends, and family, took off from Montevideo, Uruguay, headed for Chile. Their flight number was Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571. As the aircraft crossed the Andes Mountains, poor weather and navigation errors threw them off course. They entered a dense bank of clouds, snow everywhere, no visibility, and the pilots misjudged their position, thinking they'd cleared the mountains when they hadn't. At 3:34 p.m. on October 13th, the plane clipped a mountain ridge. The tail was torn off instantly. The fuselage slammed down onto a remote glacier, miles from any town at 12,000 feet elevation. Only 33 people survived the crash. They were stranded in what's now called the Valley of Tears, surrounded by peaks taller than 15,000 feet. Freezing temperatures, no trees, no food except a few chocolate bars, wine, and tiny snacks. They melted snow for water using aluminum scraps. When a search plane flew overhead and failed to see them, hope began to fade. 8 days later, they heard on a small transistor radio that the official rescue had been called off. That was the moment they realized, no one is coming for us. We have to survive on our own. As days turned into weeks, starvation set in. They rationed everything, 1 square chocolate a day, then nothing. Then, one survivor, Roberto Canessa, voiced what everyone feared to say. If we die, others will eat us. If others die, we may have to eat them. After long discussion, prayer, and moral torment, they agreed. To survive, they would consume the bodies of those who had already died in the crash. It wasn't cruelty, it was the ultimate act of survival. An avalanche struck the fuselage one night, burying their shelter and killing 8 more survivors instantly. Now fewer than 20 remained. Snowstorms battered the wreckage. Some began hallucinating. Every attempt to hike out ended in exhaustion. The peaks around them looked endless. Yet they refused to give up. They built makeshift sunglasses from plastic, sleeping bags from insulation, and mapped their route using the stars. On December 12th, 2 of them, Nando Pardu and Roberto Canessa, decided to risk everything. They trekked over the Andes for 10 days, climbing mountains with no ropes or gear, sleeping on rocks at night. They finally spotted a valley with a river and signs of life. On the 10th day, they met a Chilean shepherd named Sergio Catalan, who threw them bread and a note across the river. Nando wrote, "I come from plane that fell in the mountains. We are 14 survivors still alive." Catalan rode on horseback for miles to alert authorities. On December 20th, 1972, after 72 days trapped, helicopters reached the crash site and airlifted the remaining survivors. Out of 45 passengers, 16 people lived. When the world learned about their ordeal and the extreme measures they took to stay alive, it became one of the most discussed survival stories ever. Many called them heroes. Some criticized their choices. But those who were there said, it was not about death. It was about life. The survivors later returned to the mountains to build a memorial cross and bury the remains of their friends. Their story inspired books, documentaries, and movies, including the 1993 film Alive and the 2023 Oscar-nominated Netflix film Society of the Snow. More importantly, their endurance and humanity became a study in psychology, ethics, and the limits of human willpower. As Nando Pardu said, death was not stronger than the will to live.